Delegates, welcome to this, our fourth day of conference, and welcome to the Marie Collins Foundation's International Conference, which, as you know, is a process that is taking place over a 4-week period, this being week 2. I'd like to start by playing a short video through my colleague Daniel, which describes the purpose and what the conference is about. Daniel, please.
We know that the online world and the threat of online abuse is changing and changing all the time. And we know that the scale of that threat continues to grow.
This is a global crime. This is a global problem. And the voices of survivors are changing the way everyone is looking at this issue, from the public to the tech companies to all of the professionals who serve them.
If there is no voice from survivors, there will be no effective action to support and protect them.
The We Protect Global Alliance convened a global summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, at which the Marie Collins Foundation participated, and your extraordinary survivor spokesman, Rhiannon, addressed the crowd, more than 400 people, delegations from 91 countries, and she electrified the room. She awakened these people to what these harms really are and the damage that they do. It was a brilliant presentation, and is the kind of awareness we need to bring if we're going to put this issue on the policy agenda where it needs to be.
The foundation has identified that the needs of somebody who's abused on the internet are quite different from those of a person who is abused on a contact basis, and that subtle understanding needs to be transmitted.
The Marie Collins Foundation Annual Conference provides a real opportunity for those that work in child online protection to hear from leading academics about the latest research and critical thinking from around the world, which ultimately informs better practice. It also allows delegates, whether they work in law enforcement, health, children's services, education, or the private sector, to network and share what works for them in dealing with online child abuse and exploitation.
I think it's absolutely critical that all of the organisations that are involved in looking after children keep talking to each other, as your conference is very much aiming to achieve.
I am very pleased to have been asked to join Marie Collins for this conference event, because I admire your determination to ensure that voices which won't otherwise be heard, those of vulnerable victims who are inevitably young, I admire the fact that that is a driving force to ensure that that happens.
I fully support efforts and the conference of Marie Collins Foundation, and I think the conference last year helped us keep us abreast with current interventions and data around the world. So it opened my eyes to a bigger, wider perspective in terms of a worldwide phenomenon. It's really a very difficult situation, and that we need, like Marie Collins Foundation, to also guide us and help us in this fight against CSAE and to help the survivors.
I'm a huge believer in the power of people working together and speaking collectively about their experiences, because I think, as I say, it doesn't just protect individuals, it really does help us change policy as a result.
My name is Tim Palmer, and I'm the CEO of the Marie Collins Foundation. On behalf of myself and the team, we would like to welcome you to our international conference.
Colleagues, thank you. That was a short video that sets the scene for conference. Just a few points of housekeeping, if I may, that will help the session run smoothly. You'll have noticed by now that there is a need for us to change screens from time to time amongst speakers. But you're very welcome as we do that and throughout the conference to type any questions or comments into a chat box as we go along, and at the end of the whole session, we'll endeavour to answer those questions for you. We have the need during the presentation, as I say, to switch presenters, but we've limited that to the minimum possible, really. For my part, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to present, and do hope sincerely that my Yorkshire accent crosses both the UK boundaries as well as international ones, and that people are able to understand what's being said. That will certainly happen for the first slide, because it relies on you to read and reflect upon that before we then move into a further short video. So let's get on with that particular aspect of things, and I do hope you enjoy this presentation.
Simon, we just can't hear the volume on that one. Can you just check the share screen sound has gone on when you reshared your screen?
Thank you, Dan. I'll just do that right now. Thank you.
Network. The idea of the GPN was first In March 2019, we were privileged to be awarded funds from the Global Fund to End Violence Against Children to develop the Global Protection Online Network. The idea of the GPN was first realised a number of years ago, when we identified a clear gap in the support available for professionals to be able to network and share what works for them in supporting victims of online child sexual abuse and exploitation.
The GPN platform has been designed by professionals for professionals dealing with and responding to child sexual abuse and exploitation online. What we mean by this is that although the Marie Collins Foundation has taken the lead for developing and maintaining the platform, we want it to grow organically as more professionals join the community and become members. We want members to share their own materials with others on that platform, including examples of best practice, the challenges that they face in their own country and jurisdictions, and discuss what truly works for them when responding to child sexual abuse and exploitation around the world. It truly is a place where professionals can get help from each other.
We aim to ensure that the GPN enables frontline professionals to access the latest research from academia, non-governmental organisations and industry about child sexual abuse and exploitation threats and key challenges in order to enable members to understand the global context.
It provides access to a catalogue of training and development opportunities to help its members develop their own professional practice. These opportunities are offered both as remote learning and also through instructor-led events, which will grow in number and be delivered by leading experts as the platform continues to develop. Intuitive in design, the platform provides access to a range of supporting documents and materials about country-specific CSAE threats and catalogues these materials against the 21 capabilities of the Model National Response.
The Marie Collins Foundation is a valued long-term partner of the We Protect Global Alliance, with an extensive network of partners and colleagues around the world. This, combined with their expertise in advocating for survivors of child sexual exploitation and abuse, renders them a perfect partner to develop the GPN platform. I urge members of the We Protect Global Alliance to support the GPN initiative, which is fully aligned with our model national response, and contribute material to the platform so safeguarding communities and professionals around the world have the opportunity to benefit and improve practice still further.
The concept and idea behind the GPN platform has huge potential benefits to colleagues working on child protection around the world. There's a rich vein of information out there produced by so many credible organizations and individuals. What I like about the GPN is that it doesn't want to replace or profess to be better than what is already available, but rather collate it and deposit it in a helpful, intuitive file structure under the Model National Response heading and country profiles. This, combined with the latest academic research and an ability to offer training and support free to its members, makes GPN a valuable and accessible resource to all, not least those in developing countries.
Well, there, colleagues and delegates, you saw a short series of speakers on a video film which describes the benefits of our GPN platform. I just wanted to reiterate and add to some of those. It is responsive, and by that we mean that we have listened to what you've asked for. This is a solution for those who have been calling for guidance and support on how to practically apply the model national response. It's accessible both across the globe, and it's configured and capable of being used on multiple media devices. It very much is developed by professionals for professionals. Its success, therefore, relies on members and their contributions to make it the success it deserves to be. It's inclusive, and by that we mean that it is aimed at all professionals with responsibility for child online protection, regardless of their experience, whether they're coming towards the end of their career or starting out with their career. We want to make it as inclusive as possible. It's practice driven. It encourages people to connect, to collaborate, and to share experience and training, as well as best practice that they know works for them in their particular country. It is deliberately aligned to the We Protect Global Alliance Model National Response, and we will cover more on that in a short while. It offers practical advice through its Get Help function, which you'll hear about again as we go further into this presentation. It's supported by academic research, which is readily available on the platform. And the reason it's readily available on the platform is to make it that much easier for the user to benefit from use of the GPN platform without the need to move elsewhere to find those readily available research papers. It's COVID friendly and safe to use. We all know that more and more we are diversifying and reprofiling the way we support each other from a distance. The GPN offers the safety of being able to support its members and work in a safe environment. It has no ego. We are extremely aware and very conscious of the rich vein of resources that are out there in the community and around the globe. And we want to use that information and encourage people to share that rather than replace it or be in competition with people. It's free to register and use, and as a consequence, the users and members have nothing to lose and everything to gain. It offers a personal experience for the user 24/7, regardless of time zones across the world. Here's a short preview of the platform.
Welcome to the Global Protection Network, a platform of dedicated resources developed for professionals by professionals responding to online child sexual abuse. It is a space for you to share your experiences, ideas, and operational practices so that other members can learn and benefit around the world. Here's how to use the GPN. This is your personal dashboard. Click Get Started to learn more about the current challenges being faced worldwide in dealing with online child sexual abuse and exploitation. This section also outlines the global initiatives and partnerships that exist to provide support to improving and developing effective national responses. Click Find Out More to gain a deeper understanding of the specific challenges facing your country and practical examples of implementation of the Model National Response. This material is constantly evolving as more professionals add content and describe what works for them in responding to online crimes against children. Click on Training to explore the GPN catalogue of development opportunities. Here you will find a bank of online and instructor-led modules to develop your operational and technical knowledge of child sexual abuse and exploitation. Regardless of your profession or geographical location, we're sure that you'll find something that is of benefit to you as the number of courses expand and the platform evolves. To contribute new content to the GPN, whether that's examples of best practice information or guidance in use in your country, or tools that describe what works for you, please email gpn@marycollinsfoundation.org.uk. Thank you for visiting and using the Global Protection Network.
Well, that video gave you a taster. We'd now like to take you through the platform in greater detail. And that just involves me swapping and sharing screens with Daniel. We've tried very hard to make the GPN platform simple and intuitive to use. All that is needed is an email address, an internet connection, and membership to access the Global Protection Network. Registration is quick and easy via the Marie Collins Foundation website, with membership credentials sent direct to the user's email address. On accessing the platform for the first time, you'll be automatically enrolled into a course that simply explains the platform's membership terms and conditions. For example, we ask you not to share case-sensitive material directly on the platform, and we ask you to respect the copyright as may be applicable to certain material contained within it and donated for sharing by others. Assuming members accept such conditions, you'll be met by your personal homepage, the one that you can see on screen, but in this case, we are sharing that of my colleague Daniel Lasky-Hurd. In the top right corner of the homepage, you will find the usual search, personal messages, profile, and navigation menu, just in case you prefer to use that traditional method of navigation rather than the options that are available throughout the platform, which we're about to show you. The carousel that you've seen moving on screen is populated with a number of windows that we will regularly update. At present, they are configured to assist the users in the following way. The first one, about GPN, is a short video describing the purpose and evolution of the platform. The second, how to use GPN, is a short video animation that helps users navigate the homepage. And the third, the Youth and Survivor Conference window, provides details of our planned conference in March 2021, which we'll be introducing in another conference session next week. So if you've yet to register, you're very welcome to do so. And finally, the world map, which simply allows us to highlight the home country of our platform members to demonstrate what we trust will be an expanding global reach as the platform develops. The four main navigation icons you've heard about from the short video earlier in this presentation, and so I'll move past those and return to them in a short while. The next particular area of attention is that of GPN updates from around the world. This is where you can expect to see some regular updates from members on how they are progressing, or read about topical information and news that we want to share with the membership. For example, if we click on the update from our Kenyan colleagues in the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit in Nairobi, you'll find an example of a newsletter kindly formulated by them for inclusion on the platform. Similarly, if we close the newsletter and return to GPN updates from around the world, we can click on and access material relevant to child protection work during COVID-19. All such articles are archived and available for members as they are replaced on a regular basis with new ones by our administrator. I beg your pardon, returning to the homepage, we have a section now that's dedicated towards polls and surveys. This is where we can formulate and populate for GPN members a series of polls or surveys that may assist you, for example, in any research work that you may be undertaking. Or, as the case currently is, it is a place where we can survey our members and understand from them what their continued development requirements are, and therefore tailor the GPN platform and make it more applicable and effective in order that they can develop their practice to protect children. The complexity, or indeed simplicity, of some of those surveys is limited only by our collective imagination and, to some degree, the functionality of the platform. But behind the scenes, accessible by the administrator, as you would expect, is a whole range of analysis tools available to assist us. We did offer a request and did receive a response from our USA colleagues to assist them with the election analysis, which is ongoing, as I'm sure you're aware. But unfortunately, we had to turn that down due to conference commitments. Returning to the homepage, there is a section that enables us to post answers to frequently asked questions or issues that arise, and that's to make the user experience as friendly and as easy as possible. Beneath that is a further carousel area, and that's available to display the insignia, the country flags, or the emblems of the platform membership. And finally, beneath that is the links to live social media feeds, in this case, our own Marie Collins Foundation Twitter feed in live time. It will be possible in the coming months, we anticipate, as the platform membership expands, to potentially develop regionally hosted versions of the platform and localized in-country social media feeds. Finally, on the homepage, in the bottom left corner, members will have noticed this very familiar world emblem and language sign. This allows users to choose the language that best meets their nationality or language skills. Please note, however, that at this stage, it must be stressed that this only alters the language of the hardwired typeset within the platform. And so any embedded documentation, any videos, or any bespoke configuration that we've made to the platform has to be in English at this stage, or the originating country language, until manually translated. And we will be translating documents as we begin to populate the site in due course. If I return you now to the main 4 navigation icons, by clicking Get Started, this takes members to a page that explains the current challenges associated with child sexual abuse and exploitation around the world, and it provides details of global initiatives and partnerships that they can access to support them. It contains a range of videos or links to further information, again, all designed and intended to make the user experience and access to these materials that much easier to find and navigate. For example, we have currently a link to the We Protect Global Alliance Global Threat Assessment, or alternatively, and in addition, we have a further link to the Out of Shadows research findings, which shined a light on the response to child sexual abuse and exploitation around the world. By closing the window, the user returns to the home page, and then members can click on Find Out More and access the now familiar and easy to navigate folder structure that's deliberately aligned to country profiles and the 6 main capabilities that you'll recognize from the model national response. By clicking any of these, but in this case, country-specific materials, the user can easily access and select a country of interest, clicking that to access the country profile, for example, Vietnam. Each country profile follows the same layout and format regardless of country, again to make the experience familiar to the user and make it as informative as possible. By clicking back and returning to the folder system of resources, the same process can be followed for each and every heading of the model national response, including its subheadings. So for example, by clicking Model National Response heading 2, Criminal Justice, and then in turn the subheading Dedicated Law Enforcement, the user is presented with a series of resources, and that series of resources relate to or are considered of interest and relevance to developing that particular capability. In time, these resources will grow and include examples of best and new practice from members, and include relevant case law examples from around the globe, including legal commentary on each. The Marie Collins Foundation, as administrators, have a dedicated research analyst, a dedicated platform administrator, and access to a wide range of experts and professionals, both internally and through our global reach and partnership network, which we intend to and will call upon to assist. As administrators, we will catalogue and link any pragmatic and relevant contemporary material to help support the We Protect Global Alliance and the End Violence Against Children, and encourage members to capacity build around the world using the Model National Response. So I'm guessing that by now delegates that are listening would be in a position to be thinking, amongst other things, well, what about those regions or countries of the world where development is needed most or is still developing from a relatively low baseline? Well, by returning to the home page and clicking Training, the platform offers the now familiar folder system, providing members with access to a series of free training opportunities. Some are specifically developed for the GPN platform, others have been contributed by partners and members. By clicking GPN products, users are able to access and enroll for courses from the list, which include course descriptions, aims, and objectives. Some courses can be self-study, such as the Introduction to Child Protection course. Others are facilitated by a course tutor, perhaps a subject matter expert or guest speaker, such as the intermediate course in child protection and the developing Click Path to Protection International module. Webinars, video presentations, whether live or recorded, or any form of online delivery you would care to mention is possible via the platform. We've deliberately ensured the platform is underpinned by limitless worldwide cloud storage, and that was to cater for all of our needs as the platform grows. Training of trainer courses. Training provided in one language, translated and adapted for country-specific context, and delivered by members of the Global Protection Network located in other countries across the world, is all possible through collaboration and sharing via the GPN platform. But delegates, please be under no misunderstanding. This is a call to action. This platform relies on others to contribute. We need platform members, partners, organizations, associates around the world, and many others to help by offering capacity building courses and material for inclusion on the platform so others can benefit from it. By way of example, by clicking back and then accessing products from GPN partners, you will see how easy it is for others to contribute. In this case, our friends at the Child Witness Institute based in South Africa have contributed material aimed at role players within the criminal justice system, amongst others, and are working on material to add more. Whilst we're on this page, you probably noticed there, before we return to the home page, I just want to draw your attention to a series of keywords, which, as we've navigated the platform, appear on those pages that offer additional material or information. We've created a number of conventions in administering the system, and again, these are designed to keep the platform as simple as possible as it grows in membership and the material available on it. We've set one convention which ensures that we condition ourselves to include only the very latest information, and certainly not information that's older than 5 years. It's much more likely that that will be limited to a 2-year period, but we do recognise already that there are research gaps in some of the material that it's available, and therefore it has to be older in order to provide what's available to users. A second convention involves our administrator tagging and creating keywords that cross-reference the material on the platform and that render it easy to find by the user. For example, by searching a keyword, in this case, child, it will return every resource within the platform the user is likely to need, and it will also differentiate those resources by type, whether course, whether PDF, whether Word document or otherwise. Finally, as we return to the home page, I want to mention the last of the four main navigation icons, that of Get Help. By clicking this icon, it will redirect the user to a simple form to complete that will, if properly directed to the GPN email address from the drop-down menu, be sent and received directly to the GPN team. It allows members to seek help on any related matter, and where we cannot readily answer, we will do our level best to connect the user to another member or partner or subject matter expert that can. Looking to the future, this may well include case conferences where we can connect members to subject matter experts in near lifetime to advise and offer them the support that they so desperately need. I now need to just return to the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you, Dan, for navigating that screen. So before we take any questions, which we will leave to the end of the presentation, I would now like to move on to the next part of this presentation, which is very much around the case study in terms of Vietnam. Before I do that, I definitely want to just leave you with this thought as we go through some of those presentations in due course. The GPN is a response to gaps that we've highlighted. It's echoed by colleagues and practitioners around the world who, in one forum or another, have all called for guidance and support in developing capabilities of the model national response. For our part, MCF has definitely taken its responsibilities seriously in developing what we think is a pragmatic and practical-based platform for professionals, made by professionals, and we can rely upon that, and they can rely upon that as they contribute and use the platform to good effect around the world. This is truly a call to action, and in the coming days and weeks we will be reaching out to organisations, academics, individuals, heads of departments and others to seek their support and contribution so that we can ensure the GPN platform encourages professionals to use it, reuse it, revisit and contribute products so that the platform can become the go-to platform that professionals have been waiting so long for. Our membership registration opens on the 23rd of November, deliberately to coincide with the last day of conference. And access to membership is, as we've said, by the Marie Collins Foundation website, which is there on the screen. We'll obviously email people with this in due course. In the intervening period, we would like you to register your interest or contribute material now at the GPN at mariecollinsfoundation.org.uk. And I'd now like to move further into the presentation and introduce some colleagues around a Vietnamese case study. This case study involves three people from three different organisations. Our friends Tan, I beg your pardon, Dan, rather than Leon there. That's a typographical error on my part from this morning's speaker. My apologies. And Damien, if Damien has managed to join us again this afternoon. Vietnam, just by way of background and introduction, is a member of the We Protect Global Alliance, and that makes it eligible to apply for support from the End Violence Against Children Fund to capacity build and bridge those gaps that we've talked about that are highlighted in any of the model national response capabilities or subheadings. In communicating with our colleagues and partners in Vietnam, they and we recognise that whilst the MNR is a comprehensive tool to assist, it's often quite daunting to determine where and how you should access any of those headings and how to sequence the model national response effectively. Whilst no model is a suitable model that will fit all circumstances, this case study identifies some of the challenges that were faced and also draws some links on how the GPN going forward could assist had it been in place previously. I'd now like to call upon my colleague and friend Tan to take over presentation. Tan, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tang. So I am working as the online safety specialist at Child Fund Vietnam. So it's just such an honor to be meeting you and sharing about Child Fund's work through the camera. So I would like to start first by introducing to you some information about Child Fund Vietnam. I think my apologize. I think I need to turn off my camera for a better bandwidth. Hope you don't mind. Child Fund Vietnam is a representative office of Child Fund Australia, an independent international development organization that works to reduce poverty for children in developing communities. So Child Fund has been working in Vietnam for 25 years and work in partnership to create community and system change which enable vulnerable children and young people in all their diversity to assess and realize their rights. Child Fund Vietnam's project focus on child rights and child protection, education, health, and well-being for children. We work mostly in rural mountainous area province in the northern part of Vietnam, where majority of people are from ethnic minority groups. They are often the most vulnerable and marginalized section of the population. And talking about child online protection is pretty new to us, and we only start to work on this area in 2015. Starting with a research on online behavior of young people called Youth Online, and then follow up by a cyber safety project called Child Fund SwiSafe in 2017. So next slide, please. So next slide, please. So before I talk about SwiSafe and our connection and engagement with the MCF, I would like to share to everyone a number about the situation in Vietnam. By 2019, 66% of population in Vietnam was online, and this continued to grow very fast. So that means that is 68.5 million people, and 1/3 of them are young people and adolescents who through the internet saw the increase in the exposure to all levels of violence and CSAE. So there's some data from our project SwiSafe suggested that 42% of young people who were exposed to sexual content, and 93 of them has seen website or chat room that they consider physically harming. In 2019, there are 200,000 cases of child sexual abuse material referred to Vietnam from NCMEC cyber tip line for action and follow-ups. This is the second highest in the Southeast Asia, just behind Indonesia. And this number only represents those cases reported from one tip line only, not to mention the other hotline tip line. Meanwhile, the support service and expertise to respond to online CSAE in Vietnam is very limited and focused on offline offending space only. Thus, there's a need to comprehensive national response and approach in Vietnam. But like so many other signatories to We Protect Global Alliance, we are left wondering where to start and how to begin or how to accept support. And by then, Child Fund SOICEP is initiated in July 2017. It was funded by the Fund to End Violence Against Children, and it has been working to educate target children, parent, teacher, and internet vendor on internet risk and protective strategy. While we have saw some positive outcome from the project, there's a gap that we quickly realized that there's a gap and there's a need and the demand to build capacity through training of social worker, police, prosecutor, and judiciary is very huge. In other words, Vietnam would benefit from a deliberate and sequential approach to implementing gaps discovered through the use of modern national response. And do we understand that modern national response is a comprehensive tool to assist? But in many cases, people, especially our government, are asking where to begin and how to apply the model in our country's context. We understand that while there's no single model is suitable for all, it would still be useful to understand from others to how best to sequence the model so NGO like Child Fund Vietnam can best advise our government and policymaker in Vietnam. Next slide, please. Yeah. So while we are trying to explore the right approach, we were so lucky to get connected to the Mary Collins Foundation through the Fund to End Violence. We are working with Mary Collins to finalize the MOUs, but our partnership has been going on for a while. So since we know Mary Collins Foundation, they have been supporting us with providing us a lot of support and consultation on the design of the phase 2 of our SOICEP project, as well as Vietnam's national project on child online protection, which is initiated by Prime Minister and Ministry of Information and Communication in Vietnam. Mary Collins Foundation also introduced us to some relevant stakeholder and partner that they have a connection to in Vietnam in order to support us in our future work. And we know that, like many colleagues here, we are going to benefit a lot from the Global Protection Online Network. That was just introduced by Simon. So since then, Child Fund has been able to collaborate and benefit from a more sequential approach to the MNR and advise our government on the sequence needed to realize sustainable improvement in the response to online child sexual abuse and exploitation. The concept of core capacity has helped us to identify how such an approach would benefit Vietnam and recognize no model fit all country. If you had chance to see our some materials that read about our national project, you can see that this is reflected in the design of our program and on the national project on child online protection. We support our ministry to drop earlier this year. In SOICEP phase 2, we will focus on, for example, in SOICEP phase 2, we will focus on 3 core capacity: a dedicated law enforcement and child protection workforce, judiciary and prosecution, while the national project by MIC will be working holistically in all capacity, but they put priority on some supporting capacity such as education, innovation solution and child helpline. So that is just an example of how the concept of COX capacity has been helping us in prioritizing things. The development and launch of global. Next slide, please. And when GPN was introduced, the developer and the launch of GPN will provide us the opportunity to collaborate further, to share and learn from each other on what actually works in their own country, and then we can learn from them. And they are all the invaluable lessons that that we can get by becoming a member of GPN. We can also utilize the platform to train people remotely using disaster or during COVID or similar syndrome like COVID, and share our own product, our knowledge, and our material on the website, on GPN website. So finally, I would like to share that with the support from Mary Collins Foundation, GPN, and MNR guidance on sequencing, Chaifan strongly believe that we are going or we are able to support Vietnam government and our people better in applying and tailoring our program and tailoring the approach that that Vietnam is needed and based on our context and fit to our context. Thank you.
Dan, thank you so much for that presentation. Very insightful and leading next onto the next presentation very nicely. On that, if I could please introduce a representative and colleague from World Vision.
Hi, Simon. Hope you can all hear me loud and clear.
We can hear you very, very loud and clear. Thank you, Dan. And it's a pleasure to have you here with us. I hand the floor to yourself, Dan. Thank you.
A pleasure too. Thank you. So my name is Dan, and I'm with World Vision International in Vietnam. I'm the Director of Program Quality and Resource Development. And safeguarding is one of the roles that sits under my function, including child protection. So real pleasure to be invited to be learning alongside other colleagues, and a really exciting time for us. So allow me to share briefly about our national work and the past footprint that we've had over Vietnam. So we've been in Vietnam for over 31 years, largely with projects that span 10 to 15 years, but also where disasters happen, we jump in very quickly to respond to disasters, including making sure that children are protected. And we are also very much involved in advocating for policy influence and change. So currently in Vietnam, we are present in 18 out of 63 provinces across Vietnam. At national level, our work to end violence against children in every form, but also with policy influence. We don't go alone. We work with peers and other agencies that are in the same field, especially within the Child Rights Working Group. I know Child Fund is in there too, and UN agencies for us to influence policy implementation, but also adjustments better. Next slide, please. Thank you. So with specifically to tackling online child sexual abuse and exploitation, we were very privileged to be awarded a grant from the fund 2.5, 3 years ago, which is in Da Nang. And I was sharing with Simon and Daniel the other day when we're going through the GPN, saying, so initially when we started this project, we had a lot of questions, and I still remember, I think it's still in our first report to the donor, on what suggestions do you have to us to improve in the future. And our one recommendation was, where can we have one platform where we can get learning and training materials, because this is a new area for us and we need to deliver as well as to quickly upskill the relevant authorities, social workers, and what have you. And I think the Global Protection Online platform comes in at the very right moment where we needed it the most. So with that project specifically, we collaborate with government agencies as well as NGOs like Child Fund to educate parents, children, so that they know how to use internet safely, and then for children to be able to protect themselves. So equipping them as a first priority, and then working with social workers for services and referrals, and internet shops on internet safety, and then with the government stakeholders on enforcing that for the internet shops, which is very common in the areas we work. We also work to upskill the National Hotline 111 staff who receive calls, from the incidents that are reported through them. And so with regards to collaboration, we looked at the materials available. Initially, we were going to develop our one, but then we had Child Fund had also been implementing a similar project, and we said, oh, why not just reach out to Child Fund and adopt and use their materials? And so that worked very well for us. It lifted a whole lot of workload, but also we had the same message across different cities and provinces. So it was easier to carry the message up to the national level to begin influencing the government. At national level, we also, I think Tan already shared this, I've been working with Child Fund to advocate to the national government to prioritize child online protection in the policy document, especially on the child protection in the cyberspace, in line with the model national response. And then for the national hotlines 111 staff, so at the very beginning, we struggled really to have data and to be able to report on cases of online sexual abuse and exploitation. So we've been working all along with the government to be able to have that in place through the national hotline 111, so that we are able to inform decisions and support government accordingly. The support also includes helping online, national hotline staff on how to handle responses and referrals for these cases. And we are also working currently with the government, including an introductory meeting that happened with Internet Watch Foundation in Hub with regards to the same. Next slide, please. So as already hinted on with the Global Protection Online Network, platform, for us, we're very excited and we look forward to it. Actually, I tried a couple of times to enroll, and then I was being asked an enrollment key, but then I realized the membership opens on 23rd November. So probably that's the reason. But one of the things that we are really excited about this is the opportunity to have information and advice in one place. Because like I said, when we started our project tackling online sexual exploitation and abuse, we knew that somewhere someone was doing something excellent, but we just didn't know where to get it all in one place all as quickly as that. So this is coming in to really bring us up to speed with learning, and as well as best practices. I'm actually already thinking of some ideas. So the current work we're doing at ECPAT in UK, and I'm just, yeah, I think this is actually what we should be sharing on such a platform where we're working on a project addressing modern slavery, and we realized some of the human trafficking cases now, the traffickers are using online platforms, the dark web and what have you, to lure children into such. So we're working with the judiciary, police, from prosecution, and at the moment we're doing some research in the UK for the Vietnamese population at the same. So for us, this is quite a great initiative, and as child-focused organizations, all having one agenda to safeguard children from all forms of abuse and exploitation, this is an excellent initiative. Thank you so much from World Vision.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much indeed. We really appreciate your contribution. You know, if delegates are anything like me, it's very clear just how much experience you possess in the work you do with World Vision. Certainly we are very grateful to have insight from you into what your experiences have been. Thank you again, Dan. We really appreciate it. So the final slide, before we go to any questions that may be there, are around and from, rather, Saigon children. Now, Damien joined us this morning and did say that he may or may not have the opportunity to join again this afternoon. Is Damien with us at all or not?
No, he's not, Simon.
No problem. In which case I can speak to Saigon children on behalf of Damien. The slide says there, doesn't it, that Saigon children enables disadvantaged children and young adults in Vietnam to reach their full potential through receiving a quality education relevant to their needs. I can say, not on a personal basis, but certainly on behalf of colleagues within the Marie Collins Foundation, that's exactly what they experienced when they had the good fortune to meet with Damien and his team and Saigon children in Vietnam when Marie Collins Foundation were out there supporting capability and capacity. In many respects, what's unusual about the circumstances between our guest speakers today, insofar as the GPN coordination and opportunities to assist is concerned, is that whilst they all have common denominators in terms of being able to support child protection in Vietnam, notwithstanding that, the ability to join together and recognise what's out there elsewhere that can be brought to bear through the platform is something that the Marie Collins Foundation, through the EVAC Fund and through the We Protect Global Alliance, have been able to bring and support them with. It struck me in particular when Dan said that we knew somewhere someone was doing something excellent, but we just didn't know who that was at that particular time. And that's exactly the position that we want to, bridge and help and support people achieve. We've got 3 organizations here that we are collectively working with and want to work with, and the caliber of all 3 is nothing short of visionary and excellent. It struck me from what Tan was saying about the Swipe Safe Phase 1 and how it quickly became recognized, notwithstanding the excellent work, that a more comprehensive national response was needed. And that in turn has led to Phase 2, and that in turn has led to us being able to help and contribute towards national plans around child protection and the law enforcement workforce, while still continuing to scale the prevention work in schools and amongst parents. It is exactly what the GPN platform is for, and the benefits of being able to describe this particular case study, which is a live one and is ongoing, is that we can move forward collectively and cater for some of their needs within the GPN platform as we move forward. So again, I want to place on record our sincere thanks on behalf of the Marie Collins Foundations for their contribution. And I want to thank delegates for spending the time and taking the interest in our conference, and in particular today's sessions. Please spread, the word that the membership, insofar as our GPN platform is concerned, opens on the 23rd of November. But the time really is now, under that call for action, to register your interest and contribute any material that you feel would be of relevant and benefit to others.